Welcome back to some more Watanagashi. Okay, so where we last left off, we are about to visit Mion's huge palace of some sort, and we're at the gate. Apparently, it's supposed to be very fortified because, well, if we trespass, then we get fined for $1 million or some shit like that. But yeah, let's continue. Let's hope there isn't anything disturbing, of course. At last, a huge gate, as big as I imagined, appeared. Was she living by herself with her grandmother in a house with such a grand getaway? With such a grand gateway? I wonder if she's here. Beep. The old buzzer made a dull sound. Was it cut off in the middle and not getting to the house? We waited long enough without a response for me to start thinking like that. However, we finally heard footsteps walking through gravel on the other side of the gate. I nervously balled my hands, my palms now sweating into fists. There was the clang of a bolt being released and the gate opened slightly. The person peeking out of the gap was none other than Mion. Oh shit. Well, this is unusual. Aren't you two going to school? Mion didn't seem all that surprised that visitors were arriving in the morning, which wasn't a normal time. In fact, she almost seemed relaxed, as if she knew we were coming beforehand. We stayed home today. Kei-chan is one thing, but you too, Reina? You two are such troublemakers. Mion smiled lightly in the way that the Mion we knew always did. Well, let's not just stand here. Come on in. She gestured for us to follow her. I hesitated for a moment, looking at Reina. Let's go. Reina smiled cheerfully as if she were passing through the gates of a good friend's house, and then did just that. I rallied myself and then go through the gate too. On the other side, it hadn't been maintained very well, but it was clear that the lot was magnificently wide. It wasn't quite what you think of when you hear a mansion, but it was very clearly a vast place. Wow, this is some beautiful view right there. I mean, look at this. We got the pond, the little house in the background, some trees. Oh man, beautiful. Clearly a vast place, alright. Was this the first time you've been here, Kei-chan? Yeah. This house is enormous. Steep thatched roofs aren't in fashion anymore. This place could be a tourist attraction. I want to rebuild it using totally average and boring reinforced concrete soon. Mion drily smiled as she said that, then closed the gate and relocked the heavy bolt. Don't worry about it. Things have been dangerous lately. Gotta do at least this much during the daytime. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw the hint of a shadow in her smile. Well then, good sir and madam, I shall show you inside. Please come this way. Mion bowed to us like a worker at a high-class hotel, then pivoted on her heel and began to walk. Reina gripped my stiffening arm lightly. Keiichi-kun, you're too tense. We came to see Mi-chan, remember? You don't need to be that nervous. That's right. When I get nervous, I tend to let everything show on my face. I'll stop tensing up. Even if something were to happen, there were two of us, by the way. Oishi-san's subordinates were waiting outside the gate for us too. There was nothing to worry about. After thinking about it that much, I realized my nervousness was already gone and laughed at myself. Alright, what we got here? What's this? Mion, what's with this stone on top of the newspapers? It's in the way. There was a pile of newspapers on the floor at the entrance, and there was a large rock on top of them. I didn't understand why something like that was here. Reina noticed me looking at it questioningly questioningly and giggled. Reina, do you know? What is this? Some kind of good luck charm? If you don't really know, then feel free to move it out of the way and put your shoes there. Keiji-kun, there's a nest of swallows right above that stone. Huh? Oh, you're right. Oh man, I'm out of it right now. It's just sleepy. Oh, you're right. This house is for people, but swallows still come in without permission and make nests. It must be like a tradition for them. Whenever spring comes, they always make a nest here. It's kind of annoying, though. In other words, it's a sign to not take off your shoes here, because swallow poop could end up in them. I couldn't help but laugh at the silly contrivance, or whatever that word is. Contrivance? Yeah. My laughter naturally spread to the other two. A really long time ago, the Sonozaki family apparently cultivated silkworms. Our ancestors would get all worked up over exterminating the swallows. When you think of it that way, maybe this is our just desserts. Anyway, come on in. The inside of the house wasn't very bright at all. It was dimly lit, in fact, but mysteriously I could still feel an elegance to the place. Mion seemed to want a more modern building, but traditional houses like this aren't bad either. You're kidding, right? There's a terrible draft and the winters are freezing. Don't go making my house into property of cultural significance and getting in the way of renovations, got it? What I want most is a house like yours, Kei-chan. I'm pretty jealous of it. It seems like it would be warm in the winter. Oh, but snowfall seems like it would be a problem. Snowfall's a problem? Does Hinamizawa get that much snow? Our latitude is south of Kanto, isn't it? Isn't this region warm? You don't know, Keiji-kun? Hinamizawa is in an area that gets heavy snowfall. Yeah, right. When we get a lot, everyone gets buried. Sometimes you can't even get out of your house. We'll see about that. I've never seen Hinamizawa get covered in snow before. Sometimes your car gets totally buried too, and you can't find where it is. I wasn't aware of that. Hinamizawa was that bad a place in the winter? Come to think of it, my dad, he said something like, this place got plenty of snow, so we could have fun building igloos. Still, your front door getting buried, not being able to find your car? That's way too much snow. You remember from geography class, right? The western side of Japan gets cold winds from Asia. We're different from those softies protected by the mountains, nice and warm by the Pacific Ocean. I'm totally okay with being a softie and nice and warm. I hate the cold. We'll have to have a training camp to get Kei-chan used to the cold this winter then. No way, there's no way that's happening. I hate the cold, and I hate training camps too, and I hate them even more put together. Mion laughed more uproariously than she ever had, then told us she'd bring out some tea and left her seat for the moment. Still, there's a lot of fun things to do in the winter. I bet our club will be a blast then. Our club continuing activities through the winter sounds totally horrible, like swimming in the cold or marching in the snow. When did we turn into Mount Redhorn? Yeah, there are definitely a lot of tough punishment games for the winter season. One time she made us have a Rio carnival in the schoolyard while snow was falling. I see the terror of our club cared not for the season. The victor would be decided by who could best adapt to the winter-only events. We do snowball fights and shaved ice skating contests and treasure hunts in the snow. Wait. I need to slap myself in the face because I keep yawning. Wait, why is everything outside? Why can't we play tabletop games in a nice warm room while it's snowing? Whoa, Keiichi-kun, if you're saying things like that, then you're gonna lose a lot this winter. We'll have lots of punishment games and Reina won't lose. Oh my god. Don't give me that. Oh. I settle things with a cross chop to the head. You're sure having fun. Our walls aren't very thick, so be careful not to go flying through any, okay? The paper sliding door opened and Mion returned with a pot and a complete tea set. Do you want sesame seeds on your rice? Sorry we don't have much in the way of bean paste or other good stuff. It's okay, it's okay. We didn't really come here to drink tea anyway. And with those words, the smile disappeared from Reina's face. Ah, she did it. That one careless statement reminded us of what we had nearly been able to forget. I had wanted to enjoy this peaceful time for a little longer, but we put an end to that with those honestly careless words. When she noticed the smile disappear from Reina's expression, Mion too changed hers. It was as if the cheerful air that was like a warm spring day until a moment ago had slipped through the cracks in the paper door and altogether disappeared. There was no point in regretting it now. We did not come here today to chat and enjoy ourselves. Mion silently poured the tea. During that time, both Reina and I sat kneeling without uttering a word. Here you are. Drink up. We couldn't even mutter a word of acknowledgement at those natural words of courtesy. There's no poison in it or anything. Do you distrust me that much? Maybe. That's upsetting. Oh boy. Mion gave a bitter smile at that and let her shoulders droop. We all remained silent. We remained silent, hoping that someone else would speak up first. That was, however, the one thing we didn't want to do. And so we sat for a long time. Why can't he just apologize to Mion before shit happens? At last, Mion smiled scornfully and opened her mouth to speak. Hey now, Kei-chan, Reina. You're the guests. Didn't you come here for something? If you don't speak up first, this old man won't know what to do. Reina and I exchanged glances, and we both resigned ourselves. Reina opened her mouth to speak first, so I stopped her. Keiichi-kun, it's okay. I needed to come here. Let me talk first. Okay, I understand. What would Kei-chan have to tell me? Please, give me your daughter's hand in marriage, maybe? Can't do that. My little Reina and Kei-chan aren't meant for each other. Go wash your face with miso soup and try again later. Afterwards, I thought her mean remarks were Mion's own way of showing consideration. Mion had said those mean things in a totally normal voice, and it drained the tension from my shoulders. Mion, first, I have something to apologize for. You do? What for? Mion pretended that she didn't know what I was talking about, but I clearly got my point across. Well, on the night of Watanagashi, the ritual storehouse behind the shrine, I went in there. I could see Mion's expression immediately become harder. I knew it was somewhere I wasn't supposed to go, but it was just supposed to be a little bit of exploration. We didn't mean anything by it. Even so, I still shouldn't have done it. So, I apologize. I'm sorry. To display my deepest sincerity, I pressed my forehead to the table. I meant it as my way of prostrating myself. I figured it wouldn't feel sincere enough if I raised my head right away, so I left it there on the table for a while. Mion didn't say anything. With my face down, I couldn't tell what sort of expression Mion had. Only the voices of the cicadas filled the room. Mixed with them, I could hear the sound of the clock ticking. That was all. When I started to struggle to breathe from having my head down for so long, Mion told me to stop. You got me there. I didn't expect you to pitch it to me straight. You've got me on the ropes. I looked up to see that Mion's face was calm, but she was smiling faintly. If you understand that even though it was only a casual exploration for you, K-chan, there are a lot of people who think it's no laughing matter, then it's okay. There's an old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. It's been days since then. It may be too late, but I apologize. What I did was wrong. Please, forgive me. I could feel pitiful tears welling up within me. If I had done this sooner, maybe nothing terrible would have happened. It's okay. If you know what you did was bad, then that's enough, right? Mion spoke like it was someone else's problem, and I wasn't happy about it. Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun is apologizing seriously. I think maybe you should respond seriously as well. Reina is right, you know. I am being serious, though. Do I not look serious to you, Reina? You don't. Reina was giving her tit for tat, and so the room's atmosphere quickly began to grow sharper. She was right. Even though I came here to speak from the heart like this, it's felt like she hasn't been taking this seriously. Obviously, Reina isn't fond of that. Keiichi-kun, you can get up now. Let's tell her everything. That looks like what Mi-chan wants, too. I had known it would turn out like this from the beginning. Hadn't I come here prepared for that? I mustered my willpower and bit my lip. Mion, you called Rika-chan and Satoko the day before last, right? I don't remember doing so. If you have a reason to think so, could you let me hear it? It was evening, before dinner time. Rika-chan should have come here, bringing a big bottle of soy sauce, to have you share some with her. Mion was trying to keep from showing any reaction, but I didn't miss her eyelid twitching just a little bit. Why do you think that? It's not hard to understand. Mi-chan, you saw it too, didn't you? Rika-chan's room. Mion put a finger to her forehead and acted like she was thinking. There was chilled tofu, but no soy sauce. Plus, the big bottle of soy sauce that should have been under the sink was nowhere to be found. What? Is that why she would have come? Is that why she would have come here? Mion, drop the "at." You wrote it yourself on the notice, didn't you? That you'd share your soy sauce. That you shared your soy sauce? Mion scratched her head. I heard her ever so faintly click her tongue. Your face is kind of creeping me out, though. It was as though we found out she'd purposely given too little change to the servant. That's all I could feel from her. Then, Mi-chan, Rika-chan, you hid her. Reina hesitated for a moment. I could tell that she didn't want to use the word erased, and that she was struggling to find another word. That was really supposed to be the end, wasn't it? For you, anyway. What are you talking about? You didn't foresee that Rika-chan would tell Satoko-chan that she was going to your house, did you, Mi-chan? Look at that look in her face. Then Satoko-chan called. Might Rika be imposing on you? Yeah, probably just like that. You sound just like her. Mi-chan, you were in a bit of a bind then. because someone knew that Rika-chan had come here. So you decided to lure Satoko-chan here too. Lure her out? Like how, I wonder? Mion prodded Reina on, as if trying to get to the good part of an interesting story. Oh man. I, however, knew I had been watching Mion change the whole time. She was restlessly twirling her fingers. She had clearly lost her calm. Oh man. Of course, it was really a slight thing, and only I, who had been watching her this whole time, would have known. Mion was panicking. What Reina was saying must have been a bullseye. It probably went like this. Satoko, I actually made too much dinner today, so why not come over and eat? Rika-chan came earlier and already ate some. Something like that. Scratch. Mion's nails dug into her knee. Oh my god. Holy crap. She is actually pissed. Oh my god. I would like to see the look on Mion's crazy face. There's no recordings of the phone conversations or anything, so how do you know that much? I know it because the dinner that Satoko-chan made for the two of them was plastic wrapped into a refrigerator and hadn't been touched. For a few moments, Mion's face was frozen in utter amazement. She looked like she couldn't believe that this person in front of her was Reina. And now we got the crazy. With just that to go on, how did you even guess what we said over the phone? It's a long explanation, so I'll get to the point. The contents of that refrigerator provided a vivid account of what you said over the phone when you lured her out. Mion's jaw remained on the floor. That was the only way I could describe her face. That's... I had no idea I had such an incredible detective right next to me the whole time. I can't believe you figured out everything, down to the phone conversations, just from what was inside the fridge. You've got me there. You've got me. You've got me. As if a dam had burst, Mion convulsed into laughter. Her laughter, though, definitely didn't want to laugh as well. Mion grew tired of her dumb laughter, heaved a big sigh, and scratched her head. It almost seemed like Mion had lost a detective punishment game for the club or something, and her punishment had been decided. Oh, how fun that would have been if it were true. An incredible detective. Michan, you're the one who guessed what Oishi-san told us. He called me an incredible detective too. Wow, the look on her face again. As soon as she heard Oishi-san's name, Mion's eyes began to display panic more clearly, so that anyone would be able to tell. Oh boy. Mion, the police have suspected you for a long time now. Oishi-san's officers have had the house under observation so that they could break in at any time. Mion attempted to feign calm, but it looked like she was having a hard time with that. Part of her couldn't believe that the police had her surrounded, and she closely examined Reina's facial expression. Oh shoot. I am surprised when it comes to stuff like that. Oh, facial expressions. However, she couldn't detect a hint of falsehood. Finally, Mion seemed to accept the fact that the police were encircling the house. Was the mayor Michan too? Were Toмотaki-san and Takano-san you as well? Mion didn't answer our rapid-fire questions. I could clearly see impatience in her eyes, which were still feigning calm. At last, Mion, who had been sitting there lazily, readjusted her cushion and sat herself upright. Huh, look at that smile. Interesting. Sat herself upright. At that moment, the atmosphere in the room changed completely. Mion's expression also changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared, and she became so solemn you would think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. It was now, in this moment. Mion had ceased to be Mion, but had changed into Mion Sonozaki, the current heir to the Sonozaki house. That solemn atmosphere about her was clearly abnormal, and was entirely different from that of the Mion that I knew. Now I could believe it. Now I could believe that she was the young leader who commanded the entire Sonozaki clan. Mion quietly placed both her hands on the tatami mat and gave me a beautifully elegant bow, as if this really were a tea ceremony, and named herself. We meet for the first time. I am the current heir to the Sonozaki house. My name is Mion. Mion's movements were so elegant they could cut, and we couldn't even answer her. All Reina and I could do was watch, baffled at her actions, which we could never imagine the normal her doing. I would like to welcome you to the Sonozaki main house today. I will greet you all in place of our leader, Oryu. It seems as though you have various things you would like to ask. If I can be of any assistance, that I would like to answer without concealing anything. What? What did Mion just say? Mion said she would answer anything we asked. There was a strong light of resolve in her eyes. It's really all right if we ask anything, then? I shall tell you everything I know. That is why you have come here after all. Reina and I exchanged glances. There was a mountain of things we wanted to ask Mion. However, we hesitated for a moment on what we should ask first. The first question Reina gave was extremely abstract, but it was the question everyone wanted to know right now. Why would you do this? That was what I wanted to ask as well. Why would you do this? That didn't only go for Rika-chan and Satoko. It went for the mayor, Takano-san, and Toмотaki-san as well. No, even further back, for all the incidents that had been occurring every year. For a little while, Mion couldn't respond. Right when we realized that the question was too vague and tried to put it into more concrete terms, she finally opened her mouth to speak. Oh my god, no way. So Mion was behind all this bullshit? Oh my lord. To answer that question will take some time. If that is acceptable, however, then I would by all means like you to hear it. She spoke clearly. She spoke with a clarity that a grandmother might use when telling a story from a long time ago. Do you know that Hinamizawa village used to be called Onikafuchi village? Oh, this is some nice music right there. Reina nodded lightly, then shot me a glance, asking me if I did. I returned her nod. Hinamizawa was once called Onikafuchi village, yes. I heard all about it that night from Takano-san in the ritual storehouse. They firmly believed that demon blood ran through their veins and cut off all contact with the outside world. They were worshipped by those in the villages at the foot of the mountains and treated like transcendents, those capable of magic. That's right. Our ancestors in Onikafuchi village were proud transcendents descended from the demons. Those in the villages at the foot of the mountains worshipped and honored them. Nevertheless, that all decayed with the end of the Tokugawa era. The black ships arrived. The era of the samurai ended. The era of national isolation ended. And the tradition of worshipping Onikafuchi village quickly disappeared. Those things that linger from the past were all to be detested. That was the kind of era it became. The Meiji era began, and the name of Onikafuchi Village, with its long history, was forcibly changed to Hinamizawa Village. I have heard the Meiji government strongly wished to erase the old customs. The abolition of feudal domains and the establishment of prefectures. An era had begun, seeing Japan sprinting up the stairs that were beyond their means to try and reach the same level as the rest of the world. All things in the Western style were to be extolled, while all old traditional things were to be scorned. That was the sort of era it was. Our ancestors in Onikafuchi Village were proud transcendents descended from the demons. Onikafuchi Village disappeared in a flash. At last, Japan, provoked by the great European powers colonizing countries in Asia one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power so that it could stand as a global power in its own right. Conscription began, and they won war after war, the First Sino-Japanese War and the Russo-Japanese War, and until the Pacific War broke out, they recklessly climbed the staircase towards modernization. At the time, Onikafuchi Village had already lost its impenetrability. The villagers, once worshipped as transcendents, were now on the receiving end of inhuman treatment. The sacred Onikafuchi Village had been groundlessly labeled an isolated village of those afflicted with incurable diseases, a mere shadow of its former self, and stood on the precipice of an era of hardship. Thus began harsh days where one would suffer unreasonable discrimination just because people knew one was from Onikafuchi. The children in the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Hinamizawa because filthy germs were rampant there. Children who had come into contact with children in Hinamizawa would cry and wail as their parents purified the spot they were touched by rubbing salt on it. One of the adults said to the children that if you got lost in Hinamizawa, you would be kidnapped by demons, cut up into pieces, and devoured. Never, ever go near the terrifying village of the man-eating demons. That's what he taught them. Another said that during a famine long ago, the people of Hinamizawa gathered up all the corpses they had discarded into the dry riverbeds, then cooked and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in such seriousness. Baseless slander added to baseless slander, making Onikafuchi Village's historically accurate, thrilling history all the more believable. Perhaps the chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of the people's anxiety towards the uncertain times. Of course, the story didn't end only with the perspective of children. If anyone found out you were from Onikafuchi, you would be turned down from any job you applied for. People would even go back on engagements and marriage proposals. As for the marriages where one partner had lied about it, as soon as the truth got out, they were made to divorce. It even caused trials. They would appeal that where one came from wasn't important enough reason to divorce. They would, however, lose their case. Lying about one's birthplace apparently constitutes a heavy act of misrepresentation in marriage. That's terrible. I've heard of... Okay. I'm gonna go and continue more of this after I resume the pause. But I'm going to end it here for now. So next part, let's see how this story will actually go. So like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys later. Have a good one.